Hello YouTube and welcome to this video where I am going to present 6 good beginner tips for Marvel Champions. These tips are tips that I learned and I focused on when I was new in this game. It's a really daunting game at the beginning, but it can be so much fun when you just learn the basics and how the mechanics work. So, 6 tips for the beginner. Let's go. Okay. Tip number 1, starting hand. If you want, you can throw all or any of your drawn cards on the discard pile and draw new ones, but this is only valid the first round in the game. You should have as good cards as possible to affect play in your first round. That's important. The first round is really important to make probably as much damage as possible or play the right cards. We'll see in the other tips which cards that should be. Tip number 2, build an engine early. This means try to play out cards on the table that stay on the table until something else says otherwise. These cards will give you benefits the entire game, so play them early if you can. And they will then benefit you even more, of course. Avengers Mansion lets you draw a new card every turn. The Helicarrier lets you draw an extra resource or use an extra resource. Between these, I think Avengers Mansions is the best. Drawing a new card always gives you an extra resource, but could also mean drawing a great card to play. Tip number 3, use your allies wisely. Allies do not only inflict damage to villains and minions, they can also take damage for you. Use an ally until they have 1 health left and then let them be played out on the table. And then use them for sacrificing their last health point and take all the damage to protect you. Normally, if an enemy inflicts, for example, 3 damage and you use an ally with 1 health point left to protect you, that ally is killed, but the rest of the damage does not go over to you normally. Tip number 4, focus on threat. If you have great cards in your hand that can inflict a lot of damage, well, use them. But always prioritize getting the threat level down if it's high, especially if it's higher than 3 or 4, and especially in a solo game, because in solo games and playing especially against Rhino, as we see here, it can go south very fast. So keep the threat level down. All right, tips number 5. Use all possible resources. If possible, use all your cards every round. That maximizes your actions. And don't forget, if you end up with cards in your hand that you don't want, you can discard them and pick up a full hand at the end of your turn. Alright, last tip. Tip number 6. Every time it's your turn, check what your played cards, hero, and allies can do. It's so easy to miss benefits on the cards. Some give extra resources, some retaliate, and for example, when the villain attacks Spider-Man, he gets to draw a new card every time he's attacked by the villain. Don't forget that. Okay, these were 6 good tips I could think of at the moment that I got when I started. I hope they helped you a little to get going with this great game. And if you liked the video, please hit the like button below. Have a nice day and see you next time.